All right. So the first question is, what protocols are in place if someone suffers a head injury, and are any precautions taken to prevent these head injuries?
Okay, so we have two sides of our program. We have the intramural sports side and the sport club side. One initiative that we've really pushed this year with our sport clubs is that we have done a lot of research in the last year about high risk sport clubs. And so, of our 62 sport clubs, we have deemed 11 in that high risk area. And so, for those 11 programs that are high risk, including men's and women's rugby, men's and women's ice hockey, lacrosse, and soccer's, and then there are a couple more. We have hired athletic trainers from the Wexner Medical Center to be at all of their
Oh wow.
home games that are within the vicinity of the city. So that is something that we're very happy about, and are able to provide that service for our sport clubs. In the past, that's been a cost that they've had to endure, and now we're taking on that cost for those 11 clubs because of the research that we've
Is
been
it
able to
is
put
it
forth.
just clubs, or is it also intramurals?
It is only the clubs.
Only
On
the
the
clubs.
intramural side, we have enacted some concussion protocols and trained our staff to recognize the symptoms of what happens when someone shows that they are maybe showing symptoms. So we do pull them from those intramural games and basically sit down and make sure that any other symptoms aren't being held. So, in each of their first aid sling packs, they provide the person or their friend who's also on that team with a card that displays all the symptoms and says, "Hey, if you show any of these signs, it's probably a good idea to go to the emergency room."
Is now is it up to the player if they want to re-enter the game, or do the refs have discretion to say no,
Yeah.
you can't re-enter?
The intramural supervisor has the full authority to remove that participant from the game. So
Okay.
if they can't remember their name, or if they can't remember the
Hmm.
score, or they can't remember the time of what their game started,
Hmm.
any signs like that, the intramural supervisor has the full authority to remove that
Okay.
individual from the game.
Awesome.
So I would say we probably see most of our injuries happen in our lower level, so our B League or our co-recs, just because the skill level is a little bit different. It's not as advanced,
Hmm.
and so when you have less experienced players, there's a lot more prone uh, contact with
Hmm.
individuals, as far as maybe they don't have the proper technique, maybe they don't have the advanced skill set that someone in a Premier League or an A League may have in order to stop, change direction, things of that nature. So we see more injuries occur in our B League, mainly just from an experience standpoint of player ability.
And how frequent are these injuries? Is it do you do you do you hear about a head injury like every day? And if there is like a head injury, is there a
Mhm.
report that's filled out about
Yeah.
it?
So for any injury that we have during our intramural or sport club events, our supervisors are required to fill out an incident report on our iPad. So we get signatures from those individuals and basically a full detailed report of the incident that happened. Maybe the supervisor didn't witness it, but an official did. So they have the ability to kind of fill in the blanks on what happened during that course of action.
And here's another question.
Hmm.
Not, it's more based on like the people in the RPAC right now,
Hmm.
such as like the guys playing pickup
Hmm.
basketball. Say they hit their head. What would you advise them to do if they suffer like a head injury? What should they do
Um, um,
if there's no refs around?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not my staff. That's more of a
Uh-huh.
facility item. But the first thing that they'll do, that player, or the usually you'll someone from that game will usually try to find someone working in the facility,
Hmm.
and once that information is being radioed out to the facility manager, um, they'll bring down a report, bring down some ice, bring down any kind of medical needs that they may need. They'll pull that player aside and then fill out the injury, go over what happened. Um, at that point, that player has the ability to go back in, but most of the time, we highly recommend that they, sit out and kind of take some time to themselves. And if they need to go to the doctor, we're always kind of recommending that, because we're not doctors
Yeah.
ourselves. We don't have the ability to diagnose anyone. So the more professional experience you can get from a medical professional, we highly recommend. I am not sure at all, actually. I would hope that there would be, some leniency if,
Mhm.
someone broke their leg or, had a concussion, but I think the documentation from the medical professional is the most important aspect of it. If you can have a medical professional signed off on it saying, "Hey, I sustained a concussion. I need to be out of class for 5 to 7 days because my brain shouldn't be functioning at
Yeah.
this high level during while I'm showing symptoms." I think the documentation is probably the most important part to really kind of help a campus-wide initiative to uh, the awareness of concussions.